Hi friends! Today I want to talk to you about goal achievement. Specifically, what you should do when you are having setbacks, how you can deal with them and get back on the road. This is Ellen Goldman from LNG Coaching, and I'm really excited to talk to you about goal setting because as a coach, I'm really into goals. That's what I do with my clients, that's what I do with myself. I help them set goals so that you can move forward in the direction that you want with your life. However, sometimes goals don't go the way that we want them to go. They don't follow the timeline that we would like them to follow. And you may end up finding yourself frustrated, disappointed, even getting down on yourself for not achieving the goals that you set. And if you're experiencing that now, I have lately had a lot of my clients and friends talk to me about these goals that they set when we first went into quarantine. All these things that they were going to accomplish when we were staying at home and sheltering. But now that we're slowly beginning to get back out, lots of folks are starting to reevaluate, what did I really get done? And some of them are feeling really badly that they didn't accomplish all that they had set out to do or that they thought that they would. So I think it's really important that we spend a little time today talking about what to do when you're dealing with those setbacks, the disappointment and the frustration that comes along with it. And the first thing you need to know is that it happens to everybody. Even in the best of times, when we're not dealing with a world pandemic, if you are setting lofty goals, and what I mean by that is goals that are important to you, that really have meaning and purpose underneath them, you are going to have setbacks along the road. Goal attainment is never a smooth sail without any bumps, setbacks, or disappointments. If it is, there's a really good chance that you set the bar a little too low, that it was a pretty easy goal, possibly even something that you were already doing most of the time. But when we set goals that are kind of pushing us beyond our comfort zone, we need to expect that we will have setbacks along the way. And I want to give you a process on how to deal with that so that you don't just throw up your hands, start personalizing it and saying, I'm no good, I'm lazy, I don't know how to work with goals, this just isn't going to work for me, I just have to accept that this is the way these things are. Stop. It doesn't need to be that way. There are some really simple steps that you can take when you hit that bump in the road, or when suddenly you say, hey, I have forgotten about that goal. It's suddenly coming up into the back of your mind that this was something you wanted to do and you did not get as far along the road. Again, doesn't mean that you're a failure. It just means that it's time to stop and rethink what's going on. So let me give you a 5-step process that you can use. The first one is to recognize and accept that setbacks and failures are part of the process. If you begin to think about your goals as experiments, every little step in goal attainment is an experiment to see if it works or if it doesn't work, or what parts of it do work and which parts of it maybe not so much, then you can just depersonalize it and say, sometimes things aren't going to go smoothly, and then we just have to rethink it. So just accept and recognize that setbacks are inevitable and depersonalize them. Have some grace with yourself that it's not always because there's something you're doing wrong. It's that maybe the path you chose wasn't the best one, or maybe the world turned upside down, and so you need to rethink things. Secondly, revisit that goal. Does it still make sense? There may be some goals that you set at the beginning of this year, on January 1st or 2nd, that now just don't make sense because of the way the world has changed. So revisit the goal and ask yourself, does it still make sense? Is it something that I want? Am I still connected to it? If the answer to those questions are no, throw it away and don't think secondly about it. But if the answer is yes, then step into number 3. Think through, what was the purpose behind the goal when you set it? So let's say your goal was to get to the spin studio 3 times a week. And then that spin studio shut down. And so you didn't go to spin and you haven't gotten any further on that goal. But what was the purpose behind it? Was it to be able to say, I'm going to the spin studio 3 times a week? Or was it to get in better shape, to feel better, to lower your health risk, maybe take off some extra weight, maybe to de-stress? So what was the purpose in that goal? And is it time to revisit the goal in a different way? If in your town the studios are starting to open, maybe that is the right goal. But if they're not yet, maybe you need to rethink it, because underneath it, the question is, what can I do to get in better shape? Revisit it, connect it to your motivation. Does that still feel purposeful and meaningful to you? If it does, then you step into 4, which is evaluate that goal from the very beginning. And here's where I want you to pull out a paper and pen and answer the questions. First, what was the actual goal you set? And if it needs to be revised, go ahead and do that. Secondly, when you first started working on that goal, what was helping you to make progress? What were the things you were doing? Were you setting time in your calendar to get to the studio or work on the goal? Maybe it was writing your book, and the purpose behind it was to be able to get a message out to the world that means something to you and that you think you can help others with. So at that point, what were you doing? Did you have days of the week that you dedicated to your writing that you've kind of forgotten about? Maybe you need to revisit that. So what was working? Can you do more of that? And even more importantly, what didn't work? What stood in your way? What was the bump in the road that stopped you from taking action? And lastly, what haven't you tried yet? Is there a new approach that you can take to that goal attainment? So let me run that through you one more time. What was the goal that you set initially? And does it still make sense, or does it need to be revised? What were you doing that was working? Can you do more of it? What was the bump that caused things not to work? How can you get around that now? And what haven't you tried? So answer those 4 questions. And then it's time for step number 5. Make a new plan of action. Goal attainment is all about staying in action. And it's okay if you've let it slide for a while. Maybe you lost your momentum. That's okay. Be kind to yourself. But revisit your motivations, your reasons why. And again, if the goal still feels purposeful, take these steps and make a new plan of action. I hope that was helpful. And by all means, share with me in the comments below some of the goals that you've struggled with, and maybe I can give you some hints on how to get back on track. I'm also going to put a link to an article I wrote on this very topic that I think maybe will help you as well. So with that, I hope that you have beautiful goals that you will set as we go into this new next phase of life. and continue to keep revising your goals. Make sure that you have ones that are meaningful and purposeful to you. And if ever I can be of assistance, please don't hesitate to ask. Thanks for listening in. And if you enjoyed this, please make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel so that we can alert you when new episodes are available. And with that, I will tell you to go off and have a wonderful day and do one thing today to move you a little closer to achieving your goals.